is the cost of it? How do you compare it with other frameworks? What works with SAFe, and so on and so forth. But nobody talks about the SAFe community platform. And I don't know how many of us on this webinar today are even aware of something called a SAFe community platform until and unless you are SAFe certified. And then again, if you're using it, that's another part, right? So that is what I'm hoping to go into a bit deep today. And the takeaways that we might be looking at are, what tools do I have as a SAFe certified professional to help my customers SAFe transformation? What resources do I have for my own professional development, right? Once you invest through your SAFe journey, how do you grow from there on? When in doubt, if you have a question, where do you go? Remote training and delivery, is it for me? Can you deliver some trainings being an SPC? Can you deliver them remote? How are Scaled Agile partners different from any other organization who might be offering SAFe consulting or coaching? What's in it for me as being a Scaled Agile partner? And if we have time, then I might also want to talk about a bonus point, which is that how can I help optimize the cost related to SAFe transformation of my enterprise? All right. So I think these are all the questions that should hopefully cover most of the aspects that we intend to. And I understand these questions come to our mind again and again. So once you get SAFe certified, the success of the enterprise actually is on your shoulders, because you have a role to play in the digital transformation of that enterprise, right? And with the rapidly changing business environments, it doesn't leave you much time to start from the scratch or start learning the basics. Just a request again, if you are not on mute, if you can please put yourself on mute, or the admin, if you can put everybody else on mute.
Yep.
Thank you. And then, of course, you have, what I intend to say over here is that you always have to be ready, like a combat ready. Like you don't have time to start creating the collaterals or creating the tools and assets for the transformation ground up. And that is where the SAFe community platform plays a pivotal role. It is a platform for your learning, for your conversations, and professional development, as I say it. And with that, I think I should jump into showing you what the community platform looks like. So the community platform is something that you see on the screen right now. It's a web application. And this is the landing page, right? Once you land over here, you see a bunch of menu items at the top. You see some tiles over here. And then there's some links and other things. So let's get to a whirlwind tour of this community platform. Now, the first thing that you will notice is that there is My Learning, which gives you access to your practice tests, course examinations, etc. And if you are SAFe certified, then you are very familiar with this section. You would have at some point of time gone in this particular section, completed your learnings, and it shows up in your achievements section. Right? So as in when you start taking those validation, it will start showing up in your achievement section over here. That's the easiest part. Now, going back to the home page again, the other tile, which is really, really important for me and to anybody who is on their journey for a SAFe certification or SAFe led transformation, is learning by experience. And this experience comes either you work yourself in an environment, or this also comes when you work with somebody else, or it also works when you listen to the experience that others would have shared, so that you don't repeat the same mistakes that others might have made, right? So there are a bunch of videos for each and every layer, so as to speak, of the framework. Like there are team agility related videos, there are program related videos, there are portfolio related videos, there are change agents and trainer related videos. And some of these are quick tips, some of these are The customer stories, some of these are videos which are created by Scaled Agile, some of these are created by the customers, and so on and so forth. And all these are available to you that you won't find anywhere else. This is for your own learning by experiencing what others would have experienced at some point of time in their safe journey, right? So these are extremely, extremely important videos. And as you can see, there are quite a few of them, right? 51 plus 55 plus 25 plus 73. And if you start going through all these videos, I think this is almost an year full of videos. Some of them are quite short, like quick tip videos, but some of them could be pretty long as well if they're especially the customer stories. So lot of learning over here. And when you have a question in your mind that, oh, wish I could have had more experience about this particular topic, then without thinking much, just get into this platform over here and start looking up the videos, and you would, you can even search over here and you would find something that you might be looking for. All right. The other point is the community forums, right? This is again, learning by experience. And this is real-time experience. So what you will see over here in this section is there are different community of practices. And as you can see, there's a general safe discussion group. There's a group for a co-working group for safe in India, remote event facilitation, safe agilists, safe DevOps practitioners, and whatever your certification that you would have taken, you would find those relevant community of practices or COPs over here. For example, if you're an SPC, you would find an SPC group, but if you're just a safe agilist, you would not find an SPC group. But still, you find that these are quite active groups. So let's say if you're a safe agilist, I go in over here, I see that there are almost 98,000 members, and everybody is sharing, they're learning from each other, they're sharing the experience, and they are also asking questions, and people who are as well, right? So you will see a lot of engagement happening in community or practices. One of the most active group that I see is either the general safe discussion group and also the safe program consultants group, right? Because SPCs are in that position as a change agent to be able to lead the transformations in the enterprise. So they do have a lot of experience to share and ask the questions on. So you'll find a lot of interactions happen. And this is the true strength of the community, right? You're leveraging the experience of a community, which is a global community. And at any point of time, if you have a question, thinking about a specific use case in your safe transformation journey, just feel free to go in over here and either look up the updates. You can search the feed with the keywords, or you can also, ask the question, and you will find a lot of input over there, right? So you can search like that. I'll go back to the homepage again. For any safe professional, at any point of time in your transformation journey, you would have used one or the other toolkit or template from this particular section, right? There are always certain toolkits and templates which I'm using either for introducing SAFe to the leadership or running the workshops. And this is an internal account. This is my own admin account, so you don't see the latest toolkits over here, which are on 5.0 based. But if you are certified on the 5.0 certification, you will find all the ones which are new as well, including the Meetup Organizer Toolkit or LACE, Lean Agile Center of Excellence Toolkit, or executive workshop that I talked about, or Essential Safe, and running the PI planning, PI execution, what have you, right? There are a bunch of all these toolkits available over here, which you don't have to start creating from the scratch. You can just download these and can tailor it to your enterprise's requirement. There are a bunch of certification kits over here as well. Unfortunately, I don't see anything. Oh, wait, they came up. All right. So they are 4.6 again. As you can see, for the 5.0, they will be 5.0. So you will find those certification kits as well over here in the section. That these are the ones which were released recently to enable people to run different activities remotely. But these are the old ones over here. The 5.0 ones are the ones which you will find to be able to help deliver the trainings remotely. Going back to the home page, you can update your profile and settings. And again, this is something that I always tell people, that when you have a question related to SAFe, where do you go? Who do you ask the question? And the most common answer that you will hear is that maybe I will ask my friend who I know has been working on SAFe engagement. Maybe I'll post that question on LinkedIn, or maybe on a WhatsApp group that I'm part of. And people start contemplating different answers. They may know, may not know. Sometimes I also get a ping on very simple questions. But I think FAQs is your first line of defense, right? This is where you should be going if you have any question related to SAFe. And I'm pretty sure 90% plus of the times you would find an answer to your question. For example, most of the questions these days that I get in my LinkedIn inbox is that, hey, can I deliver remote training? What is the remote training policy like? So if I go on over here and just clicked on search, you have cases, community forums, Scaled Agile framework articles, FAQs, videos, what have you. And you can filter on that. So let's say I just want to look at the FAQs. Can I deliver Scaled Agile training remotely? What resources are there for remote delivery guidance, right? These are the bunch of questions which are most commonly asked these days. So if I open this, it tells you what and how. It even links you to the policy page, which is available on this particular. And there's a remote delivery guidance, which you can click and go into that page, which I will come back to in a moment later. But just keep that in mind, that any point of time, if you have a question, this is your first friend that you would want to ask the question to, right? Everybody else is important, but this is where you find the information which is the most updated. So use that, use the FAQ section. All right, so now we have gone through these styles. And I don't know if there are any questions in the Q&A or in the chat. Keep on posting those questions as and when you have those. But let me go to the top bars over here, right? Now, given that there were a lot of updates which happened recently in response to the COVID-19 crisis, we pivoted on the strategy to be able to support the customers and partners globally. There were a few updates which happened, and it's difficult to follow those updates. And that is why we have introduced this updates channels section over here. And all you have to do is just go into these channels over here and subscribe yourself to the updates. So if you go into the community content, this is all about the content which is getting updated on the community platform. Any recordings available for the webinars, any of those sections which are available, you can always get those broadcasts. And as you see, these are broadcast only. You won't be asking questions over here. You would just be listening in to the announcements, and you can just become a member and select the frequency as to which you would want to receive these notifications, right? So that's the updates section for you. The other section which I would want to talk to you about today is also, you already saw my learning at one of the tiles. There's also a getting started section over here. Now, this section didn't exist until I would say 3 weeks ago. And the reason why this section now exists is that we saw, and I think the SPCs would relate to this more, that when the SPCs go and teach a particular class, usually we encounter people who might be new to the world of Agile, or who might be new to the world of SAFe, and they might have some basic questions, while the others might have quite much of experience in the world of Agile, or maybe they have experience working in SAFe. They might not just be certified yet. And it becomes really challenging to level set the expectations, right? And that is where this particular section comes into picture, wherein going forward, the SPCs will be required to pre-roster all the attendees of the class so that everybody who is an attendee gets the access to this page before the class starts, like a pre-work. You will be required to complete this pre-work, and that would help you gain a better understanding on the Agile basics, or what is safe for lean enterprises. And all these are quite, quite interesting and quite engaging way to learn. There's some of the videos, and there's some zip files, there's some PDFs, again, some bunch of video, there's some e-learnings at the top, as you saw. So for example, if you're going over here, let me show how that looks like, right? I really like the way that we have designed this. So it goes into this section, and loading in a moment. All right. So what you see is what is safe for lean enterprises, right? This is one of the most important pre-learning to get started with. So I would click on start, and then I'll start reading through this. I would also know what are the modules. This is 30 minutes duration, and I click on continue. It goes to the next section, and it's, as you can see, it's quite slick, right? It's quite smooth. Flip each card to know more. So I would have a few examples that I'm reading through, and then I click on continue. I move to the next section. So I really like the way that this is designed. It's quite engaging. The information that you would probably need in as engaging way as possible. And then there, of course, you will have some FAQs, some knowledge checks, as you can see over here. I will be required to answer a few questions so that I can I can put the understanding of the concepts that I just learned to test. All right. So this is something which would be available to the attendees. In fact, it is already available. It's just that the SPCs who are going to be teaching going on, they will be required to pre-roster the people so that everybody who is an attendee to the class would start getting access to this and would benefit from learning these basics. And as you can imagine, this is easily around 3 to 4 hours of learning. So this should give you that kickstart, that momentum to get into a class which the SPC is delivering. All right. There's another section over here, which is my resources. And the toolkits and templates we just saw, but there's measure and grow section over here. And this section would be particularly interesting for the SPCs because the SPCs would be leading this evaluation or the assessment. And what it refers to is, I'll go back to the Scaled Agile framework site in a second, and I'll show you where it becomes important, right? So if I click on the safe implementation roadmap, and you would see that when we go through the safe implementation, you follow this reverse S curve, and then you would find that we have to measure or start measuring the success over here to achieve these business results, right? So how do we ensure that we are also evaluating the progress that we are making? Are we on the right path to achieve business agility? And that is what it is over here, right? Measure and grow is at the top. So it talks about all the competencies and then measure and grow. So if I click on measure and grow, there's a measure and grow article over here, which details out how this assessment is done. There is there's an Excel-based template over here as well that you can run, which you can download and run by yourself. There is some guidance which is now available, and this is where it comes in handy. So this section of measure and grow, it just helps you continuously evaluate what is the progress on different core competencies, the 7 core competencies that SAFe 5.0 has, and how are we progressing? Are we just sitting or crawling or walking or running or flying, wherever we are on that stage? And there is a toolkit which helps you run the workshop. And there are also a couple of platforms available over here. One of Agility Health and another is based on comparative agility. And maybe let's say I click on one of these. And it is asking me to sign up. Let's see what opens up. No, it's asking me to log in. So I wouldn't want to do that right now. But let me try the Agility Health Radar one. So when I go in there, it opens up, right. So these are the, both the assessments are actually similar, but the mechanics of how you measure it, because some people have a preference to one tool over the other. It's just that we wanted to give a couple of options to the community to be able to run these assessments. And as you can see over here, that you can run the business agility assessment, which will complete or which will ensure that all these other 7 core competencies are covered. Or if you just want to run one competency assessment, then you can do that as well, right? So if I click on this, it goes to another page, and you would see that I can set up I can click on Start Assessment Now, and it will ask me to set up my profile. I can create a unique ID, which everybody in the company or in the team or in the Agile release train can have. And it allows me to go through that evaluation one by one across the competencies, right? So, and then you can have a holistic view as to how are we progressing on that particular competency. And it also not only tell you the measure, but it also tell you the grows, right? Measure and grow. So what are the grows? The grows are the indicators which it tells you that what are the possible steps that you need to take to accomplish maturity in that particular competency, right? So it's not only helping you assess where you stand right now, but also tell you how do you grow from wherever you are on point A to a point B on the maturity curve, right? So it's pretty interesting. SPCs would find it really interesting. Some of the use cases that I can think of is that when you're going as a consultant in an enterprise, you might want to just have a lay of the land and trying to understand that, what does the business agility adoption look like in that organization, so that you can baseline that and then start building on top of that. Becomes an easy indicator for you to portray your own success as well, and then easy for the organization to also understand where are they moving and what direction are they moving in. And then, of course, you can continuously use that once you are running the safe transformation. You can continue to use that to establish those milestones and achieve those milestones on the maturity of these different competencies. All right. So that covers most of the part, which you see over here on the SAFE community. Of course, if you're an SPC, you will have the course admin sections, which I think is not really interesting. If you're an SPC, you already know how this section works. But let me go into a few more things over here, which is member directory. And member directory is one piece of value which you will find is interesting for you if you want to collaborate with the like-minded people in your region, or if you're looking up certain people in a region which you want to target for some reason, right? Either you know the member name, or you know the country, or you know the state and province. So and it is as accurate as the detail the individual inputs. So for example, if I want to understand who are the let's say ASEs in India, right? And I'll click on that, and I will, oops, what happened? So I click on ASE, and I click on India, and I click on search. No matching records. Nobody has taken ASE yet, it seems. Let's see if I want to try.
Uncle, I did ASE.
Say that again.
No, actually, I enabled ASE, but I'm curious to see my name.
Right. So maybe you haven't entered your country as India yet.
Okay.
Right. So as I said, that the information is as good as the individual builds up his profile. And the way to build up your profile is by going over here and clicking on my profile and entering the relevant information. But you will definitely find SA. So I'll just take off ASE, and you see that all these essays, and of course there are a lot of essays in India, as we know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you would find all these people are here. Maybe I want to speak with Aditya Rawal for some reason. Or let's see if people have updated their state. So let's say Karnataka, and see if people have updated their states. Oh yeah, absolutely. People have updated their states as well. So let's say I want to work with Aishwarya, or Anandya. So, I would know that who are the SAs in my community. Or even if I look at the SPCs, right? Because SPCs are people who are helping the community. So I would find all these SPCs, SPCT, Anand is over here. You would find all these people over here. So you can start building your own network with them. So this is where the member directory is extremely useful. Of course, you can always use LinkedIn and other social media channels to reach out to these people. But this tells you the information about different people who are certified on different certifications, to the accuracy as they would have built up their profile. The other thing is that you can always open the cases. And there's a section which I don't know if you noticed, but let me show you this as well. I think I might have missed this section. So sometimes people, what they do is either, and this is something which is a bit misunderstood, that people usually either they drop an email to me, which is okay. If this is a business related question, I can definitely help answer that. But if it's an administrative related question, that the best way to reach out is to support. Now, there are a couple of ways in which you can reach out to support at Scaled Agile, is by dropping an email, which is support@scaledagile.com, which I think almost all of you would be aware of if you are SAFe certified. But you can also go in over here in the SAFe community, and you can open a ticket by clicking on FAQ section and contact support. And you can just open a ticket over here. And then once you have opened this ticket, you would also have the visibility of the cases that you have opened. So now you're not just in the dark that, I opened this ticket, what happened to this? And I can track what is the status, when was this opened, what's happening on this particular ticket that I opened, and so on and so forth, right? So you can also navigate to this under this menu item over here, right? My cases. You can always find find training, which takes you to the external calendar, and so on and so forth. The last section that I would want to talk about is the partner portal. And this is what you don't get access to until and unless you are a Scaled Agile partner, right? So this is something which is available only to Scaled Agile partners. And the content that is over here is like the community platform that you just saw. It gets on keeping updated. It is evolving. It's definitely a lot of things go into consideration while evolving this content. And the objective behind the content that you see on the partner portal is to help a particular enterprise who has just signed up, or maybe they signed up, but they are evolving as a partner of Scaled Agile, to be able to help them build and grow their SAFe business practice. So how do I, as a Scaled Agile partner, go and consult to a particular enterprise? What are the things that I need to keep in mind? How do I have access to my collaterals? What kind of collaterals can I go and take to my customers? And I just clicked on the marketing collateral section, and you will find that there are different presentations, different white papers, different brochures, and these are something which are available to only Scaled Agile partners. There are different course brochures as well, which the partners can even co-brand, right? They can put their own logo on these brochures and ebook. And maybe I'll just open one of these and have you see how this looks. So driving business results, or driving real results with business agility, is one of the newer ebooks, which is something that you might want to hand over to an enterprise leader that you might have just met, to pique their interest in business agility and how SAFe helps you achieve business agility. And this is like a 5 or 6 pager with some statistics, with some case studies. And at the end of it, you can even put your logo and your details over here as a partner. So this is available only to Scaled Agile partners, right? There are a bunch of other things at the bottom as well, like key messaging, the elevator pitch for different products and services and what have you. So this is available to the Scaled Agile partners. The other section which is available, of course, the partners can use their partner badges, like you would have seen the bronze, the silver, the gold badges being used by different partners. There are course descriptions. I think it's self-explanatory. There are insights and presentations, and insights and presentations also include the presentations from the SAFe summits. Not all of them, but a few of them, in case you have missed attending one of the SAFe summits. And if you don't know what a SAFe summit is, I would encourage you to go to the website called safesummit.com. And you would find there are 2 SAFe summits which happen every year. One happens in Europe, one happens in global. The European one we just wrapped up. That was a virtual event, and the global one is going to be virtual as well. The dates are going to change. Over here it's going to be in October. But this is a summit where the thought leaders and the practitioners from the entire world come together, and we go through a lot of learning together. Mostly the big announcements happen in the Global SAFe Summit, but that's for you to find out when you attend one of these. All right, so you will find some of these presentations, and again, more learning for the partners. That, let's say, for example, there's a webinar series that I can catch up on the webinars which have been released for the latest products and features, or maybe I want to catch up on some of the Global SAFe Summit presentations. I can even watch them, download them. It's also available on this URL, right? So there are a lot of content which helps you be a good consultant, right? Just by going through a SAFe certification provides you a basic understanding of Lean Agile principles and maybe some understanding of how do you apply that. But then with experience and with experiential learning, can you become a good consultant and a good practitioner? And all these resources are available to get you started on that journey, and so that you find it easier to get into an hands-on mode, and then bring in different perspectives from the global thought leadership, which are available over here as a bunch of videos and slides, so that you can start putting them to test in your own environment. All right, so I'll go back to the section. Again, bunch of SAFe video series. These are available only to the partners, helping the partners on positioning some of the elements of Scaled Agile framework. So there's a partner enablement on how to sell SAFe to enterprise leaders. This is a presentation which is done by Dr. Steve Maynor. He's one of our SAFe fellows at Scaled Agile, and he did this presentation in this last SAFe Summit. It's an hour-long presentation, and some of them are pretty short videos, like a 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes videos, like navigating the big picture, or using the Scaled Agile framework as an implementation roadmap as a sales tool. Or what is LPM? How do I sell LPM? What are the talking points? What is the positioning? Why gives you those things from a partner standpoint to be able to help build your business. Going back. All right, where did I go? I think I clicked too many times. Let's go back to the partner portal. All right. And then partner FAQs, of course, SPCD program. If you want to pursue your journey as a partner into SPCD, we have a monthly partner calls for where we broadcast the latest and the greatest in the world of SAFe to all our partners. And this is where the partners find that broadcast recording. And you can also download the slides to understand what is coming up, what is our focus going to be for the next few months. This is something which is not available to the community. The partners build their business on SAFe, and hence this is available to the partners first, and then it gets released to the larger community. So the partners get the first-hand information of the things which are happening in the world of SAFe, even before anybody else gets it. And yeah, and that's pretty much it, right? So there are external links, which are again self-explanatory. There's a bunch of things which happen on this page. The last thing on this portal that I would like to talk about, again, as I mentioned, that there are a lot of changes, a lot of things which have happened in the past 2 to 3 months. You know, the learning that you saw, the pre-work or the pre-learning, you saw the resources being changed, and you have introduced measure and grow assessments now available. Oops, let me go back. You have other things which have been updated as part of the updates. The forums have been updated. There are things which are happening on the partner portal as well. There's one last thing. Oh, before I get there, let me also show you this. There's a remote and distributor safe resources, given that everybody moved to a remote delivery model. Scaled Agile, as I mentioned, you know, we pivoted and we rethought the change in the business model that we have, and how can we support our partners and customers, given that everybody would be working remotely and in virtual environments. And this is, again, relating to the strategic agility competency, but maybe we'll talk about that at some other time. But these are the resources which didn't exist until, I would say, late March. These got introduced late March and early April. And you have all the remote training policy, downloadable materials, enablement community forums. There are a bunch of webinars specifically for the SPCs, so that you know how can you work in these environments. There's an overview of the remote training aids and what are training aids. They are available over here. So as some of you would have experienced that, all the SAFe courses were actually designed for an in-person delivery. And there were a lot of case studies and activities that we used to do. What we did was to ensure that all these activities are still available to you in a virtual environment. So all these remote aid toolkits were then developed for all the courses, as you would see over here. And they are available for you to download and start using them for different courses, right? So if you are teaching a leading SAFe course, you can just download the remote aid, and you can leverage the exercises which are now available in a virtual environment. Similarly, for if you're running an inspect and adapt or a PI planning, you have all these downloadable materials and guidance and articles and other guidance material over here as a bunch of videos that you would now be able to go through and understand how can you possibly run a remote SAFe ceremony. And then, of course, there are always FAQs, right? We always have questions. So if you have questions, you know where to find these questions, the answer to those questions. All right, now the last part of this community platform. And it's not the least, it's actually still yet to be announced. I guess, I don't think we have really announced this yet. But then when you're working in all these virtual environments, you would need a platform, and you might be using some Mural or Miro or what have you, Rentouch, piplanning.io. There are a bunch of tools which are available. But we at Scaled Agile also provide you a collaboration tool which we built, or rather developed on top of what we already acquired from a company called 𝐀𝐛𝐨𝐿. It used to be called Weave, but now it's called SAFe Collaborate. So SAFe Collaborate is a virtual collaboration tool, which you would now see in a moment, right? SAFe Collaborate, and you can run a bunch of activities over here. You have a problem-solving board, you have a speedboat innovation game if you want to run that, you have a SAFe program board, you have a vision prioritization campus, SWOT, TOES analysis as part of SAFe activity that you do, or a Rome board, or learning objectives, or prune the tree, or start, stop, lean coffee. We all run those lean coffee as well, or retro, lean canvas, participatory budgeting. what have you, right? You can always create or always use some of these already existing templates, which are quite a bunch of them over here, right? And you can also create those, and you use these as forums. I don't want to go into more details over here because that will be a webinar in itself. But it's as simple as going into over here and starting the forum, right? I can just start the forum and I can just do the problem solving board, the fishbone analysis that we do as part of our safe ceremonies. And I can just click on this. I can start the event from here. I can send the link of the event to my team members and they can start joining in, and they can start, or maybe I should show you something. It's not just fun that I just talk about it. So let me go over here and see if there is an event which I might have used in the past. Give me a moment. Yeah, so let's see if I can go in over here, right? And I will just go ahead and start this. And I can give this any name, right? Test. For example, I can set the schedule to start now, or I can schedule it to start in the future. I can start this as a single forum or multiple forums. I can have people wait in the lobby, but I will just go ahead and start that, right? And I started this. Now, I would send this link to my team members. I can copy this link, and I can send that link to my team members. They can start joining in. And as you can see that I'm joining in the forum. And when everybody else joins in as well, then we can go through Lean Coffee and, in an environment like this. And if you all, I'm pretty sure you all know what Lean Coffee is. You go about talking about different topics, and you can put a sticky over here that I want to talk about safe APM, right? Where do I use that competency, right? Just a random one, right? Now you'll see there is a sticky note over here, and I can keep on adding more sticky notes by just double clicking over here. I can keep on moving that to, if I'm discussing that, I can move that to discussing, the way that you will do on a physical flip chart. Or if it is good enough, or if I have some actions, I can define templates of my own. I can add items. I can define regions. I can also look, what are the different stickies. I can also find out who are the people in there. They can chat as well, what have you, right? There's a bunch of capabilities over here, which maybe we could cover at some other day. But this is available, and I'll just go ahead and stop it. Right. So, and after that, you can download the things that you had over here so that you don't lose them, and you would be able to save them digitally, right? So this collaboration tool is available, and the beauty is that this is available at no charge as long as you have access to the Safe Community platform. And who has access to the Safe Community platform? Anybody who is SAFe certified. If you are a Scrum Master, SAFe practitioner, SAFe Agilist, SPC, what have you, right? So you would have access to all this learning, which you see over here, which brings me to the last topic, which I mentioned that I might want to talk about, is how do I optimize the cost of the SAFe transformation? And we always talk about that, hey, sometimes when you're learning in an enterprise, we're purchasing all these licenses, it just becomes too much expensive when you're looking at training multiple arts, multiple teams, multiple business units within an organization. And for that, we have a product, which is an enterprise product, what we call a Safe Learner subscription. And a learner is anyone who participates in one or more courses. And Safe Learner subscription as an enterprise product, it includes unlimited access to courseware and updates. That is key, unlimited. Any new course during the term taught by an SPC, right? All SAFe certifications and renewals for that particular term, which means that you don't only take as many number of certifications, but the number of certifications that you take, the renewal of all those certifications are included as well. and you get access to the SAFe community platform to what you just saw. And, bunch of things which I just talked about. But this is where the real deal is. What you see on the right-hand side over here is the pay-as-you-go model for the e-commerce, right? You have different courseware. Some of these are $100 license and $100 renewal. Some of these are $195 license and $100 renewal. Some of these are $495 license and $295 renewal, right? So if you keep on adding these become quite much in an enterprise. And in a learning organization, as is also indicated in one of the core competency about the continuous learning culture, you might get started with let's say a leading SAFe certification, but then you might realize that, hey, you know what, I understand the SAFe basics now, but I think I need to know a bit more about the DevOps or agile software engineering practices, or maybe I'm a senior leader and I need to understand a bit more about lean portfolio management. Would just taking a leading SAFe certification help you understand those aspects as well? No. Would you want to invest into these certifications again? Probably no. So how do you do that, right? And that is where the SAFe Learner subscription comes into picture, that you can take whatever certification that you want to get started with. On top of that, you can take as many number of these certifications as you can see on this list. 2 and 3 day certification is just $140 per learner. As an individual learner in that 1 year period, I can take all these courses in just $140. And not only that, the renewal of these certifications would also be included. Now think about that. You would have, broke even on your ROI just by taking even one certification, because the renewal is also included. And on top of that, not only this, but you have access to all the tools and toolkits and templates, which I just talked about on the community platform. The community platform would, is in itself is a huge value over there. And then of course you have additional benefits of SAFe Summit discounts and 20% discount on the SPC renewals. And this is, keep in mind, this is an enterprise product. So enterprises would have to subscribe that. And then the partners go in over there, to help them on their SAFe transformation by providing the consulting, right? So this is what it is. And it's going to be now bundled as a package. So you will soon hear about that as well. But I'll take a pause over here without going into much more details, because this could be another long discussion. I know we are almost like 7 minutes left to the time box, and maybe I can start taking some questions. I see there are a bunch of questions in the chat box.
Yeah,
so
there are quite a few questions that have come in. So can I read them out for you, Panju?
All right. So Azruddin asked the question, what is the point of profile points in a person's profile? Right. Sure. Good that you observed that. And it just shows that how much have you been active, right? If you have been commenting, if you have been contributing to the community, if you have been interacting in the conversations, if you have been going into the community of practices and interacting with the people, sharing your learning, answering the questions, that's how your point profile keeps on getting built up. But we haven't really got to a stage where we tell you that, hey, if you are, let's say, 10,000 points, then you get X% off on your next SAFe certification or what have you, right? So it doesn't work that way yet. Hopefully, maybe in the future, I don't know if we can gamify it to that level. We can probably get to that level, but not yet. Question from Ravi Shankar: writing generic article on which has reference of SAFe, does it need to take an approval of Scaled Agile? So again, it depends, Ravi. There is a section on the website where it tells you the do's and don'ts of using the SAFe IP, which is the big picture and the implementation roadmap, to be specific. Of course, you cannot also take a screenshot from any of the courseware slides, because that is also governed by the courseware license agreement. So you can't use that, but as long as you can create your own graphic and talk about anything on SAFe. In fact, we encourage you to write as many articles on SAFe as possible. But if you're using any of the graphics from Scaled Agile, just go in there and just, I'll just tell you where do we go, right? So permission request. So let's see. There are all the bunch of permission requests. This is in the FAQ. So let's go over here. This is the permission request form. And as you would have noticed over here, we make a lot of safe content publicly available, but that does not mean everybody has the right to use it for any purpose. All safe content is protected by US and international copyright laws and can be used only as the copyright holder, Scaled Agile, decides. If you want to use the content in any specific shape and form, you can always come over here, fill in this permissions form, and then submit it. And somebody from Scaled Agile will come back to you if you have any questions, or we can just approve that usage. All right, hopefully that answers your question, Ravi. Can you do a brief overview on the Safe Collaborate tool? Sure, I would love to do that. And Preet, if you would want to lead that for Azharuddin and anybody else who might be interested in Safe Collaborate, I would love to do that overview as well. Thanks for asking that, Azharuddin. Bala Ganesh, any quizzes, courses available to impose our knowledge and perform our role well? Safe has a very negative impact over Scrum experts. Why Scrum is all about descaling? Well, that's a very controversial topic. Maybe we should take that offline. I would just say one thing over here. Think about any toolbox or a paintbrush or any for example, as a in a home as well, I use the Bosch toolkit, and it has a bunch of things. It has drill, it has hammer, it has all the different pliers and everything. And the way that I use that as a carpenter or as a consultant, it totally depends on me. I have all the best of the tools available to me, but how do I put them to use would determine if I make a good window or I make a terrible window. I'll just leave it at that. We should talk offline. Azharuddin, you have a question. To use a Safe Collaborate, does everybody need to be a Safe community member? The answer is yes. You have to be a Safe community member, which also means that you have to be Safe certified. How much price to join Safe community? You take a Safe certification. That's the price to join the Safe community. And then of course, you can keep on renewing that so that you have access to, and that is why the question that, why should I renew my Safe certification? If you don't renew your Safe certification, you lose access to all the bunch of things that we just talked about. So that's the value of the renewal that you have to invest in year on year. Bala Ganesh, can you please compare and contrast Safe with its competitors? In what area Safe stands apart? All right, again, another topic which is not relevant to the community platform, but I will go to Scaled Agile, Gartner, right? And I think everybody knows what Gartner is. And when Gartner says something, the world listens to it. And this is a report which Gartner presented last year. And this was 4.6. This was not 5.0 yet, because 5.0 was launched in October and made publicly available in January this year. And there's a bunch of report available over here. And I can even put this link in the chat window so that all of you have access to this report now. All right, so go ahead, read this report, self-explanatory. It tells you, all the logic behind choosing Scaled Agile framework as the most used and most considered enterprise Agile frameworks, and it gives you the comparison against others as well. All right, that's for your own consumption. And we can always talk about offline. How to renew my Safe 5 to 4.6, it's really easy. If you go over here, Safe 5.0 upgrade is now available. Just click on that or go to the FAQ and you will find that answer. Okay, Srinivas is explaining how do you get your name visible in the member directory. That's really nice. Thank you so much, Srinivas. I think those are the right steps. And yes, opting in is really important because if you opt out, then you are not visible. So opting in is really important. Yogesh, do you mean that one who subscribed to SLS don't have to pay for given training certification? What about virtual or classroom trainings for these certification? Is it included? Right. So there, when you go and take a certification, you pay a fee, right? And that particular fee is, and I'm talking only about an enterprise, because SLS as a product does not work in the public space, right? Public training, you still have to take one license only. You have to, that's a regular license that you take, right? In the enterprise world, where you are training hundreds and thousands of people, that's what I meant, that the costs build up. And in order to optimize those costs and be able to support the transformation initiatives of an enterprise, that is where the enterprise can buy these licenses for all the learners. Let's say in an Agile Race train, there are 125 members and they take 125 licenses. And there are 125 learners, all right? So, and each and every learner can now take as many certifications without having to purchase any more licenses. And this training could be delivered either by an internal SPC, if he or she is really experienced, or by partners like Preet, who have a lot of experience in field understanding, and they can come into your enterprise, bring in the outside world perspective, and deliver those trainings and workshops for you, right? That could be done virtually, that could be done in person. The in-person world is yet to open up, I guess. We still are in the virtual world, but when that happens, you could still do that. And yes, it is included in $140. I hope that answers your question, Yogesh. How best I can elevate my career or plan my career progression in SAFe, currently in SA and SM, interested on Agile world. Again, very subjective question. We have to take that offline, Bala. You can always reach out to me. Sorry to say, but companies like Facebook, Google don't use SAFe. That's fine. I don't say that SAFe is, it's not a silver bullet that everybody has to use SAFe, but not everybody is Facebook as well, right? Exactly, right? Thanks for saying that, Azruddin. So Amazon, Google, Facebook, not every company could be them. And if you can be, nothing like it. You don't need any other solution. And if you are not, then you definitely need to listen to the word. And the word is talking about business agility. Word is talking about an operating model approach. Word is not talking about just team and technical agility, which sometimes get confused that, hey, you know what, I'm doing this approach, that approach, but it is just at the team level. And gone are the days when you can achieve much success with just by the team level agility. You have to have a well thought approach to these three strategic competencies as well of SAFe, which are lean portfolio management, organizational agility, and continuous learning culture. Right? These are extremely important. How can you reach me? Simple. pranjal.swaroop@scaledagile.com. And you can always find me on LinkedIn as well. Let me see if I can open my LinkedIn profile. So, how do I look on LinkedIn? But yeah, good questions. Thank you so much for asking the questions. I think we are over and beyond our time box. Yeah, that's how you find me. It's pretty simple, linkedin.com/in/pswaroop, and you should be able to find me easily. Preet, any other questions that you might have received that I haven't covered yet?
Yeah, couple of questions. I think one you've already covered, which is
Preet,
again comparison. There? Yeah. Can you hear me, Pranjal? Okay, Pranjal, I think
I still can't hear you, Preet.
Yeah, I have no clue what's just gone on.
Interesting. Not entirely sure. I can't hear you. Can anybody else hear Preet? Nope. We don't hear you. All right, we ran into Murphy's Law over here. But would you want to type or say something, Preet? I think we have covered all the questions. And I'm pretty sure Team Agilemania would reach out to all of you to see if you have any questions, follow-ups from here, and then we can take those questions offline. But thank you so much. I really appreciate you all taking time today to discuss this. Just keep on focusing on what works best. There are always things which you would hear, and most of these things would be from the people who might have just, hearsay, dare say kind of stuff. So just focus on what you want to achieve. And you're always welcome to speak with Preet and I. You know how to reach out to us if you have any questions, and we will be more than happy to guide you in that process. All right, appreciate it. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking time. I'll speak to you later, and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Pranjal. Thank you, Saprit.